This is documentary on how grass is a waste of time, money, and how it is not healthy for your body or the world. The book is called No-Mow Living by Marko Vovk, available on Amazon Books. Below is the link to this and other Marko Vovk books. Chapter 1, The Grass Trap. Lawn care began as a privilege few people could afford. In medieval Europe, only the wealthiest landowners displayed open stretches of short grass. These lawns surrounded castles and manors owned by families like the Dukes of Alnwick Castle in England. Lawn was cut short by sheep and cattle, or by workers swinging scythes. A back-breaking job sent a clear message. The message was clear: someone with power and the means to control land, not for food, but for display. The first lawns were a mark of status. Back then, ordinary people had no time or space to keep grass as decoration. Instead, their ground was filled with vegetables, herbs, chickens, and pigs. The few green expanses away from food production were the village commons, where neighbors grazed sheep, cows, and goats. These communal pastures became smooth by constant animal feeding. These green coverings were practical, not aesthetic, and who defines what is pretty anyway? Yet, the sight of an open yard began to symbolize wealth and security. As France and England moved into the Renaissance, the wealthy started planting massive grassy areas around their homes. Kings and nobles competed for the best garden displays. Versailles, home of French royalty, included one of the first known lawns made only for show, the tapis vert, or green carpet. Many early lawns were not grass alone. Wealthy owners grew thyme or chamomile, but always kept these plants cut short by hand. Workers or livestock did the hard work, and the expense made these lawns rare. When the British and French colonists came to America, they brought the idea of the lawn with them. At first, new arrivals prioritized survival and fed their livestock on native broom straw, wild rye, and marsh grass. Most colonial yards overflowed with gardens and livestock, not grass. Famous landowners like Thomas Jefferson and George Washington changed the landscape of Monticello in 1806 to resemble an English estate, and Washington did the same at Mount Vernon. Both relied on enslaved workers to maintain their new green spaces. In most occupations, enslaved people were responsible for all the lawn maintenance. Servants had the very first American trend of grassy yards, but most people could not copy them. The workers' food came from the land outside the door, and their animals kept the ground grazed. Lawns offered something powerful to the British mind. The short greenery gave a clear view across one's land, making it easy to spot friends or foes. Grass represented control and safety, a deep contrast to the uncertainty of wild or unkempt fields. This belief in ordered turf spread at a slow rate from the rich to the middle class, but required time, effort, and often substantial teams of laborers. The look of an English estate became a map for the American dream. American grass today is a patchwork of species gathered from all over the world. Kentucky bluegrass, the top choice for many lawns, came from Europe or the Middle East and spread throughout the country thanks to French missionaries and traders. Around the same time, Bermuda sod from Africa arrived and took root across the warm southern and western regions. Ryegrass, fescue, and zoysia followed. Most were chosen for their thick growth, green color, and quick coverage. In the west, Spanish soldiers and missionaries planted grasses from the Mediterranean. These traveled far, covering extensive regions and pushing out native plants. Each of these grasses behaves differently. Kentucky bluegrass grows fast and requires regular mowing and watering, thriving in moist regions such as the Midwest and Northeast. Bermuda grass explodes in heat, demanding attention every week in southern lawns. Zoysia offers a rigid, carpet-like surface, but grows slowly. St. Augustine makes a lush cover in warmer zones, but often crowds out everything else. All of these grasses create work. Turf consumes water, fertilizer, and the time of every homeowner. Grass is now a global business. Billions of dollars are spent each year to grow, move, and maintain green lawns. Some corporations specialize in selling only lawn seed or sod. These companies research and breed new varieties for color, growth, and disease resistance, but the goal is always the same: more green, faster coverage, shorter blades. American neighborhoods buy millions of pounds of seed every year. Entire farms exist to supply sod for new lawns, which are peeled and uprooted, shipped out to roll over bare dirt and keep maintenance. The industry for machines and chemicals adds more billions. The cycle is endless. Grass is growing, so we can cut it later. As American cities expanded outward, the green lawn became a requirement rather than a choice. Suburbs boomed after World War II. Developers and city planners wanted every house to appear orderly and inviting. City governments wrote lawns into the law. Some towns ruled that grass must never be higher than 12 inches. Others demanded homeowners keep yards free of wild plants or vegetable gardens. Homeowner associations known as HOAs patrolled neighborhoods to enforce green perfection. Residents who fail to cut, water, or spray their grass may receive a written warning, a fine, or worse consequences. There are places where the consequences grow severe. In Houston, ground crews can enter a property and mow at the owner's cost. In Florida, one family received a $30,000 fine for growing native wildflowers instead of grass. Laws like these now appear in every state. In some cases, failure to comply can result in jail time or foreclosure. Laws served as guidelines for wealthy communities have now become a legal net that catches everyone. Later in this book, you will read more examples of these codes and the battles they provoke. Beneath all the care and attention, grass is nothing more than a weed in a suit, carefully cut and chemically managed. The most common lawn grasses cannot feed people or wild animals, nor do they clean air or water any better than native plants or gardens. A patch of clover, a strip of wildflowers, and dandelion greens could serve a purpose. Instead, the American lawn fights all rivals with herbicides and sweat. This green foliage covers more ground than any food crop and gives nothing back except the sight of new paint. Blades of grass are single species monocultures, susceptible to disease and drought and obsessed with appearing perfect. The burden of keeping the perfect lawn cuts into every week. Lawns must be mowed often. Some require it every 5 days in the summer. People dedicate weekends to cutting, trimming, and spraying, not because they want to, but because the law, the neighborhood, and the market say so. City employees look for high grass. Local papers print reminders about fines. Families receive letters from HOAs or even the police in the mail. In future chapters, we will revisit these rules and their enforcers. We will also explore how ordinary people transform yards, cope with threats, or try to break free. Green Brain Wash. That is the name for this chapter. It fits because lawns are not only patches of grass. Lawns arrived in American minds by force. They did not slip in without notice. They pushed aside old ideas of food gardens and wild spaces. Now green lawns are everywhere and are seen as the definition of clean and beautiful. For most Americans, the need for a manicured lawn started at birth. Parents mow the lawn. Children view it outside every friend's house. Neighborhoods reward those who trim and edge. The message cannot be missed. This is not an accident. People don't mow the grass every summer just for the sake of it. They do it because magazines, radio, and TV have made lawns a symbol that cannot be ignored. Over the course of 70 years, ads skewed the idea. Neat grass equals a good person, equals a good family, equals a good citizen. This teaching is steady, common, and effective. The history is clear. After World War II, millions of Americans moved to new suburbs. Here, lawns were not an option. Developers spread the myth that a green yard made a house fit in. City plans enforced it. Advertising took hold. Articles from Life, Better Homes, and countless local papers called lawns patriotic, modern, and civilized. They said a perfect home needed curb appeal. And curb appeal meant a clean, green lawn. People believed it. They read the magazines, watched the news, and wanted to match their neighbors. If you had planted tomatoes instead, someone would ask you if you were all right. If you grew wildflowers, someone would worry you were too free or too careless. This message is repeated in magazines and ads. The myth became the goal. Green grass was declared clean and safe. Anything else was suspect. Wildflowers meant disorder. Native plants meant laziness. Vegetables were for the poor, not the proud homeowner. Advertisers did not promote grass. They built an entire identity around it. Local governments joined in, passing zoning codes and height requirements. Homeowners groups pressured others to trim, weed, and spray. This was not natural beauty or health. It was a system of control. Americans grew up inside this box. No one questioned it. The system works by repetition. The same messages reach kids at school, adults at work, and everyone at home. Each time a person sees another mowed lawn, their mind stores the idea. Beautiful means green. Enough repetition and the idea sticks. Psychologists call this effect repetitive programming. It is a mild form of mind control, not unlike the way brands sell soda, cars, or cigarettes. People learn by seeing, not by reading. Every summer, each lawn is a visual lesson on what counts as good. Later, the wildest rebel detects anxiety when their yard looks different. Social pressure locks in the truth. Follow the grass or risk standing out. Neighborhoods punish difference. In some places, a person seeking to grow food or flowers will get a letter or a fine. Some will receive a visit from local police or inspectors. The threats are real and the message is strong. Keep the grass or else. Examples are easy to find. In Florida, one couple faced $30,000 in fines for skipping grass and planting native species. In Texas, the city sent a crew to mow a woman's yard against her will. All of this is reinforced by industry. Lawn care is big business. Lawn mower companies, fertilizer makers, seed producers, and chemical manufacturers all depend on the myth of the perfect lawn. Together, they generate over $100 billion in annual sales worldwide. In the United States alone, over 20,000 companies serve the lawn care market. Millions of workers are employed to mow, seed, and spray. Every person who buys a mower, a bag of fertilizer, or a bottle of spray adds to the industry's bottom line. The cycle becomes self-powering. Mowers break and new machines are bought. Fertilizer wears off and more is spread. Pesticides must be used over and over. Each product claims to make the grass greener, thicker, and better. Homeowners who do not buy in feel left out, or worse, judged. The industry needs to convey a sense of urgency to stay alive. They use ads on TV, in magazines, and on social media. They push for codes and laws that make grass mandatory. The root problem is monoculture. Lawns are one kind of plant. They push out all rivals. Diversity is mocked or punished. Yet other plants can be as beautiful. Ivy climbs with grace. Wildflowers explode with color in every season. Tomatoes fill the yard with fruit. herbs and edible greens feed the family and attract bees. In many places, these plants require less water, fewer chemicals, and less work. Still, cities frown on these choices. The obsession with monoculture keeps money flowing and myths intact. History shows a different story. Centuries ago, peasants planted what they needed. Lawns were for kings and queens, not the everyday citizen. Today, we have reversed the old roles. Ordinary Americans are forced to maintain patches of grass, while the wealthy experiment with gardens, landscapes, and artful spaces. A tomato garden helps more than a strip of green, which consumes time and resources. Wildflowers feed bees and bring birds. Lawns do neither. Deep down, this is a form of mind conditioning. It works because it repeats again and again. Advertising uses techniques similar to government campaigns. Some compare the process to secret programs like MK Ultra, where the goal was to skew thinking through repeated cues and messages. Lawns do not use drugs or sleep deprivation. They use imagery, reward, and threat. They steer minds by what people observe and experience every day. Lawn care is not just a business. It is a web of social pressure. People fear what neighbors think. They want to belong. This pulls them into the cycle, even if they dislike it. Some try to break free, but the price is public shame, legal trouble, or financial penalty. Grass becomes a symbol, a cover story for order and safety. It masks the waste of water, the loss of time, and the destruction of biodiversity. A future without the green lawn myth could be colorful and easy. Diverse plants fill the yard with beauty and food. Less water and fewer chemicals mean healthier families. More gardens mean more sharing and more fun. Yet this vision must battle decades of programming, social pressure, and law. Each time you see a mowed lawn, remember it is not just grass. It is a choice made for you by others. Lawnmowers form the backbone of a vast machine that keeps Americans tethered to their grass. The global lawnmower industry is worth over $33 billion. In the United States alone, sales reach an annual $10 billion, with more than 1 million new mowers shipped annually. Top companies such as John Deere, Toro, Cub Cadet, Husqvarna, and Honda manufacture the majority of the mowers found in stores and garages. Each brand offers a wide range of models, from walk-behind versions to massive ride-on tractors, robotic mowers, and professional landscaping equipment. Millions of people buy these products, eager to keep up with their neighbors or city codes. Each mower is made with steel, aluminum, rubber, and plastic. Many use high-density plastics for their decks and bodies, which are molded and filled with foam for strength and sound reduction. Every year, tons of these materials move from factories to homes. Over time, mowers break down. Some are thrown away, landing in dumps where plastic and metal rest for decades. Broken parts contribute to the waste stream, exacerbating landfill problems. It is estimated that there are thousands of landfills in America. No one knows the amounts of steel and plastic that are stacked up, but every new purchase adds to the pile. People pay a steep price for their green grass. The average homeowner spends about $900 to $4,000 a year for a quarter-acre lawn. This number jumps for bigger yards. On a half-acre, costs range from $400 to $800 a month. For those with full-acre lots, monthly lawn care can be as high as $1,600, and annual costs can reach up to $20,000. These numbers include mowing, trimming, fertilizing, repairs, and labor. A homeowner uses gallons of gas each summer, fills up containers for push and riding mowers, and then spends more on electricity for new battery-powered models. Each trip to the store, each hour spent with a mower means more money lost and more fuel burned. Waste piles up at every step. Imagine driving through the countryside in the midst of summer. Large homes sit on sprawling lawns, each patch a bright and uniform green. For every 10 houses, one person will be riding a lawnmower circling in the heat beneath the sun. This scene repeats itself all across America. Lawn work is a ritual performed week after week, month after month. For many, it is a chore that feels like a burden and a test. The routine creates our pretty green neighborhoods and landscape. The lawnmower industry keeps the cycle alive. Leading companies such as John Deere, Toro, Cub Cadet, Husqvarna, and Honda employ millions of workers who make, sell, and service mowing equipment. Stores rely on regular sales and repairs. Lawnmower jobs fill more than 10,000 positions in the United States alone. The average worker is a 41-year-old man, and the job turnover rate is high. The industry also supports related businesses, ranging from manufacturers of blades and cables to suppliers of oil, lubricants, batteries, and repair services. The entire chain depends on a steady demand for green grass and the machines that cut it. Accidents come with the territory. Lawn work ranks among the leading causes of home injuries. Over the past decade, emergency rooms in the United States have reported more than 3 million injuries associated with yard equipment. Lawnmowers were responsible for 1 million of these incidents. Most involve cuts, sprains, or strains, with fingers and hands most at risk. Some cases are life-changing. Every year, children lose fingers or toes. Riders get crushed or burned. Moving blades and heavy machines do not forgive mistakes. Personal stories show the danger. When I was 9, my Canadian cousins played Batman and Robin. My cousin, the younger brother named Danny, only 5 years old, tripped while running near a running lawnmower. The blade cut his hand and he lost 3 fingers. The shock and pain lingered. I did not write this book to tell a story, but it is impossible to forget. Lawn accidents touch every community. My Grass is Slavery book started differently. I wrote this book after my city, Huron, cited me because of weeds growing in my garden. I had wanted a place to grow food and flowers. Instead, I received a warning and a threat. The city said I had to cut the weeds, though the garden area was filled with native plants and pollinators. The so-called weeds were mint, lemon balm, mugwort, wormwood, oregano, thyme, coleus, and more. The rules were clear. The lawn had to be mowed and the weeds had to disappear. The story is not unique. Many have faced fines, summons, and repeated visits from inspectors. What began as a dream ended with a citation. The business of green, short ground cover never sleeps. Most homes rely on mowers for the last 5 to 10 years before they break down. When they die, owners buy new ones or pay for repairs. Shops stock rows of machines, spare parts, and chemical aids. Waste is sent to dumps and landfills, while companies continue to invent new models with more steel, thicker plastic, and stronger engines. Each year, the market continues to grow larger. It is an endless loop of material, labor, and risk. Lawns are thirsty. Not a sip, not a gulp. They demand flooding. Every patch of green in the United States drinks up billions of gallons of pure, clean water every single day. Outdoor irrigation accounts for almost 8 billion gallons of water per day just for lawns and landscapes. About half of that water does not reach the roots. It flows away, evaporates, or disappears into the heat. In summer, a typical lawn uses 200 gallons daily, more than a person's showers and laundry combined. The average American home uses up to 75% of its total water to keep the yard green. Zoom out and the numbers get larger. U.S. lawns span 30 to 40 million acres. The nation's #1 irrigated crop, soaking up more water than hay, cotton, or corn. To grow and maintain grass, the country empties 3 trillion gallons of water a year. Suppose you lived in Southern California. A single small lawn demands 43,000 gallons per year. In desert towns like Palm Springs, ordinary lawns devour 63,000 gallons a year. With large 5,000 square foot lawns, homes can use 73,000 gallons every year. Most of the water comes from aquifers, reservoirs, and public supplies. 50% drips away and is lost to wind, heat, and runoff. Any house with a sprinkler system risks waste. Systems set to run daily or at the wrong time send money down the drain. Too much pressure, incorrect angles, or leaky hoses mean water will never reach the roots. Homeowners overwater by up to 60%. In dry states, this is a disaster. Budgets suffer, water bills climb, lawns get weaker, not stronger, with shallow roots, limp grass, and dead patches. The drought crisis is growing. 48 states were affected by drought last year. California, Texas, Arizona, Nevada, Utah, Colorado, and New Mexico take the brunt. In many neighborhoods, watering your lawn on the wrong day or for an extra minute has resulted in fines and threats. These places fight for every drop. Big farms, crowded cities, and thirsty lawns compete for the same shrinking supply. In Oklahoma, Montana, and Iowa, states with outdated drought plans and vast cattle ranches, water needs consume more water, pushing local resources past their breaking point. In California, city boards limit lawn watering days. Residents face steep charges for breaking the rules. Some towns ban sprinklers. Others have switched parks and playfields from grass to fake turf or native plants. Even in wetter states, summers can dry up reservoirs and strain the whole system. Homeowners must pick between paying for water or cutting back. Meanwhile, lawns still get most of it. This waste of water is more than a local problem. Across the world, billions struggle for daily water, while American lawns consume 3 trillion gallons of water a year. Children in drought-stricken countries die of thirst. In places such as India, Israel, South Africa, and Bolivia, farmers often rely on reused or polluted water for their crops. Clean water is a luxury. Each gallon poured onto a suburban lawn could mean life or death elsewhere. Nations struggle to balance the needed water for agriculture with what is wasted on appearance. Deserts grow and rivers dry up. Rich cities build green lawns. Poor towns beg for the basics. Water bills show the price of green dreams. Average homes pay hundreds of dollars a year to irrigate grass. Xeriscaping, planting native, drought-resistant plants, costs more upfront but saves water and cash over time. Xeriscaped yards cut water use by half, require far less maintenance, and make the house easier to own. Choosing grass means the bills stay high forever. In West Virginia, for example, utility bills run $1,092 per year for watering lawns. Add national averages and people spend up to $819 a year to keep front lawns alive. Compare these costs to useful spending. Buying vegetables uses far less water and money than lawns. Vegetable gardens feed families. Lawns eat and give nothing back. Americans spend billions on home food delivery services like Uber Eats and DoorDash, buying meals while their yards could grow food for free. The water spent outside could nourish tomatoes, onions, and herbs, or provide shade trees and fruit. Instead, it disappears into the grass and requires even more chemicals and pest control. Overwatering is common. Most homes flood their grass until pests emerge. Bugs search for cover and find it in the house. Cockroaches, ants, and earwigs escape the soaked yard in search of safety. Homeowners then purchase pesticides and sprays, which drive up costs and harm their health. A cycle begins. Wasted water invites bugs. Bugs bring poison. lawns get weaker and uglier. Neighborhoods never question the logic. The obsession with green grass is a badge of honor as rates rise and aquifers run dry. City officials market the myth. Water conservation campaigns warn against overuse, but laws still push lawns as necessary for curb appeal. The result? More spending, less water, and increased risk for everyone. Every Saturday, millions of people run outside. They are ready for battle. Sneakers, hats, sunscreen, and a big jug of lemonade. They fire up their gas mowers. They wrestle with extension cords for their electric machines. Some blame climate change on cows or SUVs, but this crowd puts gasoline right in the belly of the beast and cheers as the green blade. Here's the punchline. The weekend army burns more than 1.2 billion gallons of gasoline every year mowing grass. This accounts for 1% of all gas burned in America. If you look at the world's gasoline usage, your grass cutter does not make a dent, yet those mowers produce enough CO2 to match the air pollution of the city of Los Angeles. Gas-powered lawn equipment generates approximately 30 million tons of CO2 annually, along with nitrogen oxides and volatile organic compounds. Currently, gas-powered mowers account for 5% of the total air pollution in the United States. How bad is that carbon cost? Imagine loading up 30 million tons of CO2 on trucks, driving them cross-country, and dumping them in your locals. And that's the same as driving about 234 million cars for a year. To better visualize this, consider that mowing your lawn for 1 hour produces the same amount of pollution as driving an average vehicle 500 miles. Most think about gasoline when starting the mower, but producing that fuel is a massive industrial process. Crude oil travels by pipeline, train, and truck to refineries that operate 24/7, hundreds of acres wide. Each gallon requires hundreds of hours, thousands of workers, and extensive technology. Gasoline is not a natural product. It is boiled, cracked, mixed, and treated so your mower can cough black fumes every Saturday morning. Every step adds CO2 and pollutants, which multiply when you spill a little at home. Each year, the EPA estimates that about 17 million gallons of gasoline are spilled during lawn equipment refueling. The absolute joke is driving your SUV to the store, buying 1 gallon of gas for your mower, and burning another gallon just getting there and back. You waste fuel, time, and patience. Multiply that cost by every trip in every city, and the carbon price piles up. Some Americans have switched to electric mowers, flaunting their green cred. However, those electric machines operate on power grids powered by oil, gas, coal, and sometimes nuclear plants. You still plug in, still pollute, and some folks end up tangled in cords, sparking fires or getting injured. Each year, people are electrocuted by faulty extension cords and wet grass. Thousands of electric mower-related injuries are reported globally, mixing carbon guilt with a charge of irony. All types of mowing come with hazards. Giant riding mowers can roll over toes, feet, and hands. Lawnmower injuries number in the millions. From fingers lost to legs broken, about 75 people die each year, and over 9,000 kids are injured in the U.S. A child's summer day can turn into a trip to the emergency room or worse. Push mowers, riding mowers, and robots don't matter. Americans spend up to 47 days of their lives mowing grass. Robot mowers now join the mix. Quiet but deadly, they slice through energy and small animals. A study in Germany found that 370 hedgehogs were injured over a 16-month period. 47% died. A robot can't sense nests, small squirrels, birds, or any tiny creatures hiding in the grass. Their blades are ruthless. Power company executives may not care, but animal rights activists are horrified at this new carnage. Mowers are everywhere, every type. Top brands include John Deere, Toro, Honda, Husqvarna, and Cub Cadet. These companies sell millions of machines, each built from steel, plastic, and gasoline parts shipped all around the world. The supply chain is massive. It doesn't stop at air pollution. Fumes from gasoline hang thick in the air. People breathe them in while mowing and end up coughing, sneezing, or worse. Black smoke rises over towns and cities every weekend, a mini climate crisis launched by hand. Lawn mowers leak gas, spray oil, and break down. Local mechanics fix broken wheels and engines, creating more waste to haul away. Landfills fill with old blades, engines, plastic decks, and tangled extension cords. Next, pests and pets. Mowers scare squirrels, chipmunks, cats, and birds. They shred nests and move snakes. Robot mowers move at night, chasing wild animals and leaving trails of confusion. Pet owners are finding their dogs and cats injured or frightened by the machines. The market keeps growing. Newer, bigger, faster mowers roll off the line each year with more powerful engines, robotic options, and self-driving features. They've time, but always use energy, and sometimes take lives or what's left. What's the bottom line? Carbon carnage is absolute. Americans mowing grass outstrip the carbon saved by switching cars. Lawnmowers cost energy, money, time, and safety. Every blade cut is another pound of CO2 let loose. Each hour of mowing means another puff of pollution, another risk, another laugh at the silly ritual of caring for grass no one eats. Maybe the cows should protest next time folks blame them for global warming. The real secret villain is the mower, stashed in your garage. Next time you see someone hugging an electric car, watch them roll out their gas mower. The planet knows the truth, and so does your backyard. Americans do not pull weeds anymore. They poison them. Every year, homes across the country dump enormous amounts of pesticides, herbicides, and fungicides on their lawns. More than 80 million pounds are spent on North American lawns and gardens annually. The market is massive. Suburban lawns receive more chemicals per acre than most farm fields, up to 10 pounds each to keep grass green. 3 major categories fuel this chemical cycle. Pesticides are designed to kill insects and other pests. Herbicides target unwanted weeds and aggressive plants. Fungicides target mold, mildew, and fungal diseases that infiltrate grass. Common chemicals found on American grass include glyphosate, Roundup, 2,4-D, dicamba, pendimethalin, and carbaryl. Many of these poisons are manufactured by large companies, including Monsanto, now part of Bayer, Syngenta, BASF, Corteva, and UPL. Bayer swallowed Monsanto a few years ago, building an even larger empire of weed-killing and bug-killing products. Americans spend a fortune on this cycle. U.S. households use roughly 90 million pounds of herbicides and 80 million pounds of pesticides every year, costing $32 billion just for lawn and landscape chemicals. The global pesticide market is truly daunting. In 2022, worldwide agricultural use reached 3.7 million metric tons, almost 8 billion pounds. Herbicides alone made up 1.9 million metric tons. The main sellers: Bayer with Roundup, glyphosate; Syngenta with atrazine and Caravan G; BASF with Headway G and Pillar SC; Corteva with dicamba; and UPL with divanum nematicide. These chemicals do their job. They kill weeds. They also poison local wildlife, harm pollinators, and destroy whole habitats. Bees die after exposure to neonicotinoids and pyrethroids. Butterflies and moths lose their food plants, and aquatic life collapses when herbicides and pesticides run off into streams and lakes, organophosphate insecticides, phenoxy and benzoic acid herbicides, and triazole fungicides all contribute to the decline of fish populations and birds, pets and small mammal,